It's a sign that their Hajj did really change their life, and that's a sign that their Hajj has been accepted.
Shaykh, there's a lot of misunderstanding, of course, about the term in Islam, jihad. A lot of misinterpretations and mistranslations, and certainly a lot of bad press surrounding this word. But of course, the word, as we know, means struggle and relates to really a wide variety of processes and struggles that a Muslim goes through in life. Isn't it true that Hajj can be considered a kind of struggle in this manner?
Actually, you're so right. Hajj is jihad. If you get to see a picture of people performing tawaf, turning around the Kaaba in a magnificent manner, going for Arafat, spending the night at Al-Muzdalifah, throwing the stones, it is a struggle. The journey itself is very, very tiring. However, people are inspired, big deal, great deal, to perform Hajj and Umrah. According to hadith narrated by Aisha, the mother of the believers, may Allah be pleased with her. She said that once she asked the Prophet ﷺ, O Prophet of Allah, did Allah ordain Hajj upon women? He said, yes. لَكُنَّ حَجٌّ لَا قِتَالَ فِيهِ لَكُنَّ جِهَادٌ لَا قِتَالَ فِيهِ. Yes, you too have to observe jihad. The jihad for you is to observe Hajj, where there is no fighting. Rather, it is only performing this faridah, or this act of worship, and struggling in performing the ceremonies of Hajj and Umrah exactly as they were prescribed.
Well, Shaykh, it's very nice to hear that wonderful reminder, and it's a very powerful point. But I want to shift to some of the actual rulings on Hajj. And first, for whom is Hajj obligatory? What are the conditions? Of course, we all want to perform it, but what are the conditions where it becomes obligatory upon us to perform it?
Well, first of all, the Qur'an stated that Hajj is a mandatory act of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Imran, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. So it is mandatory, but with conditions. So let us learn the preconditions of the performance of Hajj and Umrah.
Shaykh, I don't want to cut you off, but let's leave it as a bit of a cliffhanger until we come back from a short break. And when we do, we'll talk more about these conditions on the obligation of Hajj. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a bit. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Hajj Step by Step. Before the break, Shaykh, we were talking about the conditions that make the Hajj mandatory. I had to cut you off, so go ahead with these conditions.
Well, we stated a verse of Surah Al-Imran that says that Hajj to the house, to the ancient house, is a duty that people owe to Allah the Almighty. And then He put a condition, those who can afford the journey. The ulama concluded the conditions of the performance of Hajj and Umrah from both the Qur'an and the Sunnah as follows. That a person has to be a Muslim to have his Hajj or Umrah accepted. Has to be mature enough. We're going to talk about them collectively, then explain each condition in details. To be capable, and the capability is both financial and physical. And to be safe, to feel safe in the performance of the journey, security. And finally, for a woman, she has to have a male mahram with her. Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and his father narrated that in a sound hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, بُنِيَ الْإِسْلَامُ عَلَى خَمْسٍ. And this is a very, very famous hadith that every Muslim must know, that Islam is built and based on 5 pillars. Islam is a building, its construction is built on 5 pillars. The first one is shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. The second is إقامة الصلاة, performing the 5 daily prayers. The third is paying the zakah. The fourth is performing Hajj, and the fifth is fasting during the month of Ramadan. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ stated that Hajj لمن استطاع إليه سبيلا, for a person who can afford the journey. A woman came to the Prophet ﷺ from the tribe of Khatham, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, the mandatory act of Hajj has caught up my father while he's an ill person. He cannot sit still on the back of his ride. Can I perform Hajj on his estate? So the Prophet ﷺ said, sure, you can perform Hajj on his estate. We understand from this hadith that concerning the capability, her father was not capable physically, but they were capable financially. So in this case, they had to perform Hajj on his behalf, his daughter at least, of course in the presence of her mahram. So the ulama explained the issue or the condition of the capability. It's not mandatory on every Muslim, but only those who can afford the journey. Financially, that they have the means of spending the cost of the journey, of going back and forth and staying there for so long enough to perform Al-Hajj wal-Umrah.
Let me ask you something about this, Shaykh, because I know some people are panicking right now. What exactly qualifies as being financially capable? For instance, some people might own a car or own a house, and the value of those items would be enough that if they sold them, they could go on Hajj. Does this count as the financial capability, or does it mean excess money? How do we gauge it?
We're talking about extra money, saving, that is enough and sufficient for the whole journey. Not only that, and to leave behind too for the family members and those who are under your guardianship, enough to suffice them while you're away. But to sell your car, or to sell your house or property just to perform Hajj while there is a necessity for all what you have, it's not recommended, it's not prescribed at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala لا يكلف نفسا إلا وسعها, does not lay any command on any soul beyond its capacity. This is as far as the financial capability. And that's why the scholars concluded that a person should not borrow money to perform Hajj. If you don't have, you don't have to go. Some people do not go to perform Hajj because they don't have the financial means, but their souls are performing Hajj. They would love to perform Hajj, but if they would have the means.
What about a situation a little bit different where maybe you have an extra money, but you really want some luxury item? Maybe you already have a car that suffices your family, but you're having a midlife crisis and you want to get a sports car or something. In this case, if you haven't performed Hajj, should you give preference to the Hajj over that extra luxury item?
Definitely, because you never know if you would live until next year when you have enough or not. Since the Prophet ﷺ warned the person who have the means and financially capable, don't you postpone it for no reason, because you never know if you would live the next year or not. Even if you live, would you still have the means? Would you still have the health, the capability to perform Hajj or not? Keep in mind, Brother Musa, that look around. Only a couple of million Muslims perform Hajj every year. Hajj comes just once a year. Out of 1.3 billion Muslims, only 2 or 3 million perform Hajj. So one should really be very keen and interested in performing Hajj once they have the means. It's an invitation from Allah the Almighty. And attendance is only by invitation. One would do their best. They would save enough for Hajj and leave behind for their family members. And get ready. If Allah have invited them, the journey will be easy and they will find it easy to perform Hajj. But those who have the means and they keep postponing, there is a great threat from Allah and His Messenger ﷺ, lest they die in this case before performing Hajj and Umrah.
You talked about the issue also of maturity, and I know that's going to raise some questions as well in terms of, first of all, what exactly counts as maturity, but then also maybe families want to take their children, and there's a lot of issues that would come up in terms of the rulings, but I guess let's just start with what counts as maturity.
Well, many ibadat rely on reaching the puberty age. And that in Islam is determined by, for a girl, by seeing her monthly period. Right away, she have reached the puberty age, where the prayer has become mandatory, where fasting has